The voice of God is a powerful voice. The voice of God is a voice of splendor. The voice of God breaks the cedar trees. God breaks the forest cedars. The voice of God splits the flames of fire. The voice of God shakes the wilderness. The voice of God makes the oak trees writhe and strips the forests bare. And in the temple of the Holy One, all are crying glory. Welcome to this digital contemplative prayer group. This is a place for all God's people. Whatever your beliefs or doubts, you're welcome here. If you're new to centering prayer, just follow the instructions as the session unfolds. You're also welcome to use the silence in any other way that is right for you. Loving God, we ask for your blessings upon this gathering, recognizing that we bring the joys and sorrows of our lives here. If anyone would like to mention silently or aloud prayers of gratitude or concern for loved ones, the dead or dying, the vulnerable and suffering, or anyone who is facing a special challenge, please do so now.
Marcia.
My mother, Anna, is suffering right now.
My nephew's wife has had several of her family members who passed away from the COVID.
It is my
Her name is Amy.
Where is it?
dining room.
God, we trust that you hear our prayers, silent or spoken, wordless or in words. So I'm just going to talk very briefly about how we spend the time at the end of the centering prayer period to strengthen our practice, which means reconnecting with the fourth basic guideline of centering prayer. And my own teacher, David Frenette, who wrote The Path of Centering Prayer, believed that if you felt ungrounded in your life and unsure if the prayer was bringing forth fruit in your life, that this was the step to look at, because it's very common to overlook this step. It's very easy, especially if we're feeling busy and challenged and our phone has been ringing, to just leap up the moment the timer goes off and go rushing back off into life. But this time at the end of the centering prayer period is very important. It's a very essential part of the practice, as shown by the fact that it has its own guideline to spend a few minutes remaining with our eyes closed before we go back into our lives. So let's just look for a moment at how we might use that time to transition from the prayer back into our ordinary lives, bringing with us a sense of the intention to allow God to act within us that we have in the prayer, to bring that back into our lives. In his book, The Path of Centering Prayer, David makes 5 suggestions for how you could use that time. The first is that you could just rest completely. You've been letting go of thoughts by using your sacred symbol, or just letting go. And you can let go of even that effort of letting go of thoughts. Just let go of everything and just rest completely. Just be in a completely effortless way. And that can be an important moment, because if you notice that there's a big difference between doing that, between just being without making any effort at all, and what you've been doing in the centering prayer. If it brings to your attention that you've been struggling in the centering prayer, you might just notice that, because you don't need to be struggling in the centering prayer. You're just, when you become engaged with your thoughts, you ever so gently return to your sacred symbols. So that can be a kind of a diagnostic tool for us to just rest like that, as well as being very nourishing, that deep restfulness. The second suggestion is that you can bring your attention to your sense perceptions, your breath, your sight, the sounds that you hear. Just come gently back into the room, noticing what's there and just grounding your body in your sensory experience, transitioning in a more sensory way from one state back into ordinary life. The third suggestion is that you could offer the period of centering prayer to a particular person or a concern. You could do your prayer list if you have one, or you could just allow something or someone to float up into your consciousness and begin to pray for them. You can visualize your day, imagining yourself in one of your daily activities, perhaps a particular challenge you're about to be facing. You can just imagine yourself bringing the prayer and the energy of the prayer into some aspect of your life. Or you could say a prayer that you know and love, like the Lord's Prayer or the Serenity Prayer. You could keep a prayer handy to just quietly say to yourself as you are coming out of the prayer period. So those are David's suggestions, but I think the most important thing is to feel your way into what is your way to bring the atmosphere of silence and the energy of the prayer into your everyday life. What is your way of making that transition? And today, as we come out of the prayer period, I'll invite you just to feel that question a little bit. As I was preparing to talk about this for a few minutes, I was asking myself, what is my way to do this? My practice is always evolving. At the moment, I think what usually happens, I've followed all of David's suggestions at different times and at different periods in my life. But I think what usually happens these days is I sit there in a state of openness, just waiting to see what will float up to the top of my consciousness. I have the sense that my practice has kind of loosened things up that might have been stuck inside of me and allowed them to move around in a new way. And during the practice, thoughts have been coming up, and I've been trying to remain disengaged from them and not noticing them too much. But afterwards is a time when I can notice what was arising, if it has anything to tell me, if there's something that I want to think about in a more conscious way about what came up. Not getting into a kind of a thinky place, but yet I could maybe do that later on. But at that point, just noticing what was happening, what I'm feeling, what has kind of arisen into my consciousness. Another way of saying it is, what is asking for my attention? I don't explicitly ask myself that question, but that's kind of the feeling that I have as I sit there. Is there a task or a particular person who needs my attention, an emotion that I'm experiencing? I have kind of the sense of sitting and watching as things are kind of emerging out of a fog and becoming clearer. Or conversely, sometimes things that have previously seemed important, I notice have lost their energy, that the prayer has performed a kind of a healing function so that things that might have felt like they were out of whack and needed my attention, maybe they don't anymore, or a task that felt urgent before might no longer seem so urgent. So I think this transitional time is a very important time when we can check in with our intuition. It's a kind of a threshold moment between the more formless state of the centering prayer, but before our conscious minds completely take over again, when we can just notice and be with whatever has come up and allow it to gently come a little bit more into focus. So that's just one idea of how you could use that time. The most important thing is just to be aware that you are making a transition, that you shouldn't skimp on that time. And you don't really even need to do anything in a particularly conscious way. You can just surrender yourself to God's intention during that period, much as you do during the centering prayer itself. But it's just helpful to be aware that that's your transition time. So let's turn ourselves towards our 20-minute centering prayer period. Take a moment to take your posture and sit with your back straight and your feet in a stable position. Your hands also in a stable position that you can maintain comfortably for the 20 minutes of the prayer. And gently close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths and just notice how you are physically, emotionally. If there are any adjustments you'd like to make to be comfortable for the prayer period. If there's anything you need to let go of before you begin. Just notice the breath flowing through you, animating you, connecting you to the source of your being. And just take a moment to notice who God is for you right now, whatever that might mean. A sense of mystery, of presence, of absence, of gratitude, of openness. Whatever it might be, allow it to be alive inside you, a sign of your growing relationship with God. And renew your commitment to be open and present to the divine. If you like, you can silently begin to repeat your sacred symbol to orient yourself towards God. And during the prayer period, whenever you notice you've become engaged with your thoughts, gently disengage yourself, returning to the sacred symbol if necessary. Loving God, deepen our longing for you. After the timer goes off, what is your way to make this transition from the prayer period back into your ordinary life? What is arising out of you? What is asking for your attention today? And it's okay if the answer is just silence, to rest and to just be. There doesn't need to be any more answer than that, but you can just make the space each time you pray for something to arise if it needs to. For the Lectio Divina, I'm going to read the 23rd Psalm 3 times with silence in between, and then I'll invite you to offer a word or phrase that resonated for you. Listen with the ear of the heart. You, O God, are my shepherd. I shall not want. You make me lie down in green pastures. You lead me beside still waters. You restore my soul. You lead me down right pathways in your name. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. You, O God, are my shepherd. I shall not want. You make me lie down in green pastures. You lead me beside still waters. You restore my soul. You lead me down right pathways in your name. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. You, O God, are my shepherd. I shall not want. You make me lie down in green pastures. You lead me beside still waters. You restore my soul. You lead me down right pathways in your name. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely, goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. I invite you to share a word or phrase that resonated for you.
You are with me.
You prepare a table for me.
Still waters.
I shall not want.
Shepherd.
Surely goodness and mercy will follow me.
Restore my soul.
Still water. Restore.
restore,
Comfort.
Mercy.
Let's close with the night prayer. We've moved to a new system where the leader is reading the final prayer with everyone else muted, but you're welcome to say it along with me in your home. Lord, it is night. The night is for stillness. Let us be still in the presence of God. It is night after a long day. What has been done has been done. What has not been done has not been done. Let it be. The night is dark. Let our fears of the darkness of the world and of our own lives rest in you. The night is quiet. Let the quietness of your peace enfold us, all dear to us, and all who have no peace. The night heralds the dawn. Let us look expectantly to a new day, new joys, new possibilities. In your name we pray. Amen. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Happy to have you all here.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
will send out both the readings and the recordings and everything
Okay.
tomorrow.
Can you send the night prayer also?
I'm sorry?
Can you send the night prayer?
The night prayer? Yes, I'll send the night prayer. The night prayer is in my book as well, if anybody is,
Okay.
I'll give another plug for my book. And the
That's
psalm,
okay.
Very good.
the psalm I read is in the book as well. So.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Lindsay. Good night.
Thank you. Good night,
Thank
everyone.
Thank you.
Good
Hey,
week.
Take
Thank you
care.
so much.
hi, Jamie.
Thank
my
you.
pleasure.
you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Welcome to all the
Take care.
newcomers. Let me know
Are
if you
you
have any
Joe?
questions,
Yes,
newcomers.
it's Joe.
Joe
Hi,
1001?
Jamie.
Hi.
Mhm.
Namaste.
Oh,
Yes, you.
It's so
Thank
nice
you.
to meet you
Night all.
finally.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Glad you made it.
Thank you. I'll see you in the morning.
Good night.
Good night,
Night.
everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
hi,
Night, Lizzie.
Elena.
Hi, Lindsay. How are you?
Hi, David.
It's so nice. Thank you for letting me participate.
Oh, it's nice to have you here. Welcome.
Oh, what a blessing. And I started contemplative prayer with a group in Armonk, Steve Standiford.
Oh, yes. Steve and I
Yeah.
used to work together with David. Yeah.
Yes, and then I ended up in Florida, and I've been here because of the coronavirus.
Oh,
But when I come back, I will continue to do that. But this was wonderful. I found you.
I'm
And if
so
you
glad
would
found
send
it.
me your book and the night prayer, that would be fabulous.
Oh, yeah. I'll send a link to the book tomorrow. Yeah.
That's great. Because I still get nervous, Lindsay, when I meditate. I don't know what that's about. I've been really trying. So I know God, I just ask him to help me.
Well, it's
And
it's natural to be anxious during these times, and
I
the thing that
know.
you're feeling it's it may come up in the centering prayer. It's not necessarily an escape from those feelings, but a place for them to heal and be. So it may
It's
not be
wonderful.
comfortable, but don't worry that you're doing anything wrong if that's happening, because that's life these days.
That's great. And it's so nice to have, you know, a group and to hear you talk. You know, I try to do it every day anyway, but this helps tremendously.
Well, there is. I don't know
glad.
if you went to the meditation chapel, but there are groups every single day of the week, and there are 2 welcoming prayer groups on the meditation chapel as well.
Great.
where you can
I
do
haven't
that.
been there yet because after I emailed you, I had to run out and then I quickly ran back. I was a few minutes late. The doctor called me. I needed to speak with the doctor. That's why I was late.
Is
But
everything okay?
Yes, thank God.
Okay, good.
He's good. And I will go on it tonight and I will find some more support and help. And I will keep working with you as well.
No, I'm so glad you found us. There's a huge centering prayer community down in Florida, but I guess it doesn't do you that much good if you can't actually be with them. So it's nice to have you with us.
It is nice. There is my church by me is called St. Paul of the Cross, and they do have once, I think it's only once a month, a centering prayer meeting, but they also have a charismatic meeting. But I haven't been able to do any of it because everything's been closed down.
Yeah.
So I'm able to find, this was wonderful that I found this. It was really wonderful. And as you say, more and more I will find more resources to help me.
Good.
Because I need that. I
Yeah.
need that. And I need that connection to God more. I know Steve told me, you know, to do it 2 or 3 times a day. And I'm not there yet, but I'm going to, because God really is peace and I need peace.
Yeah. Well, if you did it 2 or 3 times a day, it would really help you process everything that's going on now. Even if you did feel nervous during the prayer, it would help outside of the prayer just to become less reactive to everything that's happening.
Yes. And so if things come in my mind, I let them go. But, you know, and I heard you say maybe pray, you know, say an Our Father, or, you know, is there a point like tonight? At some point, I think my mind was clear, and I did get that God was my peace, and I a few other things, let go and let God. I got to calm down. But how does it eventually just become quiet and you hear, like, there have been times when I've heard God's voice in my life, but lately too much going on and I'm scattered.
Well, one of the teachings about centering prayer is to not have any particular expectations, for it to be peaceful, for it to feel spiritual. Even people who've been doing it for a long time, sometimes it's just very turbulent, you know, and then other times it is peaceful. You just can't predict. You just surrender that time to God, and you try to accept that God is going to use it in the way that's right. And then you just don't judge what happens. You know, you don't have to worry about, was that a good period or was it a bad period? If you show up and you just keep sitting there and your intention is to be doing it, even if your mind is all full of thoughts, you're still doing it just because you're there. So you don't have to feel worried about that.
That's great. And I loved your night prayer that said, what's done is done. And, you know, that's so beautiful, right? I mean, if we could learn to put things to bed like that, it would be very nice. So this was tremendous for my first time with you guys. I can't thank you enough.
Well, it's lovely to have you with us, Elena. And maybe I'll see you at the meditation chapel as well, because I do go there there's a welcoming prayer session on tomorrow night, on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So I recommend that. If you're struggling with difficult emotions, the welcoming prayer is such a great way to help deal with that.
Thank you. Oh, what a blessing. God does put us in the right place just at the right time, doesn't he? What does the Psalm say? He guides us along straight paths. maybe a little crooked at times, but I eventually get there.
Well, we can
where
all
do you
forget
live?
to ask, and then when we ask, it's like, oh, why didn't I ask before? That happened to me today. I prayed for something, instantly he knew what to do, and I was like, I'm supposed to know to do that, and I don't.
I know, he really does do that, right? I know, and when we forget, we're like, oh gosh. Now, where do you live? Are you in New York
I'm in
City?
Brooklyn.
Oh, you're in Brooklyn. Nice. This is certainly challenging times, but we will overcome, and it's a good time to learn all of this and to develop a relationship with God.
And it's a great gift that we have these ways of being together, even in the face of all these obstacles. So
it really is. I actually hope when things get better, these things continue, because it's nice. Especially, I live in New Jersey, and about 25 minutes west of the George Washington Bridge, directly west, 25 minutes, half hour. And I find that I have to drive around a lot to get to places.
Yeah.
So having these type of beautiful things on Zoom and on the internet, it's been wonderful.
Yeah,
I don't have to.
I've been leading Centering Prayer on Zoom and Skype for 8 years, and I've never been able to convince very many people that it was a good idea. Everybody always thought it was really weird, and now all of a sudden they're being forced to try it, and everybody's going, "Oh, this is great!"
Oh, it is great. I didn't even know. You see, I just found you because I was forced to, right? Because otherwise, I would have been running to a group. But now I don't have to run. I can just Google and find it, and I found you. So God is good. It was a good day that I found you, and a good evening, and I will see you soon, and I look forward to your email, and just have a great night.
You too, Elena.
And God bless.
God bless
Thanks.
you.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe.